Arcane is unfortunate in the sense of sharing the name with League of Legends, since most people don't relate this to this. Instead, they relate this to things like, but I have a condition called being a fucking loser. So when it comes to watching TV, naturally, I'm really good at it. A little too good if I'm being honest. I'll go to watch a show and I'll binge it like there's no tomorrow. Brushing my teeth, it's on my phone. Making coffee, it's on my phone. Getting fired from work because it's on my phone. Side note, please like and subscribe. It's unrelated, but this becomes a problem when a show hasn't fully come out, and by the time it does, I'll have forgotten what's happened and have to go back and rewatch the entire show. It's happened a lot, and it's the reason why I purposely fall behind to avoid watching shows like The Boys and Invincible and Rubble and Crew. But apparently, Season 2 is the last of Arcane, and so I binged all of it in like a day. Usually I try and keep my reviews spoiler free, but it makes it really hard to point at plot points that I'm critical of without revealing them. So, without spoilers, here's my review. This show was a marvel. Artistically, it never falters, constantly delivering these fluid, beautiful fight scenes in desolate environments, and cinematically, it earns its praise. And while the story they were trying to tell was clearly headed in a strong direction, they shot themselves in the balls by not giving it more time to naturally develop. I understand wanting to end a show on your own terms before you've got another Simpsons, but seriously, just one more season would have done wonders for this show. 8 out of 10. It's definitely worth a watch, but I am uninstalling this dumbass game. But now I want to do something I don't usually do, which is delve into this a little further. So if you haven't seen the show all the way through, go ahead and just turn around and plug your ears and la 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 until the video's over. No peeking, okay? Viewer beware, you're in for a scare. And by scare, I mean, if you peek, I'm gonna put a hug bomb in your mailbox. You've been warned. Okay, it's spoiler time. Anyways, Season 1 of this show was absolutely phenomenal. The world building, the lore, and my favorite part, Silco. This was an incredible season, and while it made a few questionable choices like a mid-season time skip, it seemed to handle it really well. One thing I noticed from episode 1 is that the protagonist's dialogue felt really on the nose, like stuff like this.
I'm going. Are you with me or not?
Vi, they're already right there with you. What the fuck are you talking about? Admittedly, I'm being very harsh on this part of the show because there was almost no room for improvement anywhere else in this season. It was so good. Local Scriptman does an amazing video about dialogue, and he outlines a line delivery type called the alley-oop line, where one character says something just so another character can deliver some good line. Go watch it if you haven't. But basically 90% of the protagonist's dialogue are these layup lines in this first season, in the entirety of the show, to be honest, making it just not all that interesting when they talk. At worst, it's kind of annoying. To be honest though, it was always kind of balanced because of Silco. He was the balancing point of the show. He was such an interesting and menacing antagonist, and every word he said made my knees weak with how badass it was. He kept a lot of things in the show in check, but most notably, he kept Jinx in check. Once he died, she went sicko mode, fired a bomb at Congress or something, and you go, oh shit, it's getting real, she's going crazy! And then Season 1 ends on this just phenomenal cliffhanger. And then Season 2 starts, and it's awesome. It picks up right where it left off, and then it does another time skip. And that's where things get really messy. The first half of the season felt just as good as Season 1, but then they feel the need to do another time skip, and it just completely derails the story. And while I did get kicked out of math class for eating too many desks, this makes the ratio 75% amazing show and then 25% disappointing. Unfortunately, during the 25%, all resemblance of a story and world building that they had been building up towards just kind of flew out the window. During the 75% of the show that was great, they built up this massive conflict between the two sections of this city-state, teetering on the edge of a civil war, and every episode it just creeped closer to a boiling point between the two. And then after the second time jump, it realizes, ah, shit, Silco's gone. We forgot a bad guy. Let's go build up some third party villain. But at this point, there's only like 4 episodes left, so they just kind of rush off to develop some new bad guy while completely ignoring what they've been building towards this entire time. The second half of season 2, specifically episodes 4 through 8, feel just like a completely different show, and a notably worse one at that. Not only is the conflict all over the place, the dialogue, it gets noticeably campier too. And without Silco there to balance the show's on-the-nose dialogue, it just feels less interesting, less clever, and just less enjoyable to watch all around. Season 1 may be one of my favorite seasons of a show, just in general, but its successor was not a success. With Silco gone and redeeming Jinx and making her into a protagonist, the show sat without a solid antagonist for a good chunk of season 2, and the antagonist they eventually ushered in to fill the gap seemed to be completely unrelated to the conflict thus far as a whole, where Silco was a very personal antagonist to the main duo, and was used directly to push the two warring factions apart. This new antagonist, who was used to bring them together, was this counselor's mother, whose daughter's brother, so her son, was used to make the daughter learn magic. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Why is Vander a werewolf? This is how season 2 feels. It's directionless and unnecessarily confusing. Where season 1 was this very grounded, depressing story of revenge, pain, family, and losing yourself through losing others, season 2 was Vander is a werewolf now, and Echo and Hairball figure out time travel for some reason, and then Jace is in hell, and then he comes back and kills Victor, who turns into the entire fucking universe, while this one counselor, who apparently has known she's a magician this whole time, starts fighting her mom, who's insurrecting the capital with Jace, the universe guy, because magic killed her son. What the fuck even is that? Arcane has one of the best starts to a show, and it flubs it harder than I flubbed your mom. If you haven't watched this show, you should definitely watch it, for the art in season 1 alone. But also, if you haven't watched this show, you were supposed to not peek, and I just spoiled everything, and you know what happens now. Subscribe!